Da 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 da. Hey, this is Tony Ross for the 2D Animation Virtual Summit, and welcome to part 2 of day 2. And we have Chris Burns from Exit 73 Studios coming up at 1:15, and then we're going to also have rounding out the day, I think we're going to have that's going to be Mark Simon doing a presentation, so it's going to be awesome. Godfather of Storyboarding, teaching us how not to make freelance such a crap ride. So, let's see. Let me double check things. And we'll get going here. Da 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 da. Okie dokie. So, what I'd like to do let's play around a little bit here. Going to do a quick little test and make sure our videos are working. Just hold on one moment. Make sure our sound is good.
Is it can be very overwhelming. You look at the whole scope of work for what we have in a week, and as mentioned, we're such a small studio. There's only 2 of us, so we're looking down the barrel of let's get a minute and a half of animation in a week with the 2 of us. Now on Monday I come in and I do the quick math. I'm like, oh my gosh, 90 seconds of animation, that's 1,800, 1,700 drawings. You know, how are we going to do this? Then for whatever reason, Friday happens, we look back and it's finished, and it's this weird blur that happens. And the way we rationalize it, or at least cope with that, is just focusing back to the old adage, it's only one drawing at a time. We have to just keep our head down and just get that one drawing done. That's all that it is. Just focus on that one drawing to the next, to the next. We build a rhythm, and by Friday, you know, Bob and I crack a few drinks here, and we look at the 1 minute of animation that got finished, where Monday it seemed completely impossible. That's the beauty of animation. You love it so much, you hate it so much. It's a ton of work, but the reward at the end of that Friday is all makes the whole thing worth it. And that's why someone that's been in the industry for 20 years still has that magical feeling. It's like, well, we created something and we're not exactly sure how. And that's our approach to the studio. We just call it magic, but it really is just getting a lot of drawings done a week.
I love it.
I hope that I can still find an audience for all the crap I want to make, because I just don't want it to be a memory. I want to remind people of just the treasures that we have in this medium, and the potential for this medium. It isn't just meant to be a distraction. It's not just bright, flashy colors. It's not just a way to waste a few minutes of time. It's something special. And I wish more people at the top of the animation industry felt like that just a little bit, because I get this overwhelming sense that there's not a lot of love for animation in the animation industry, like at the top. I don't mean the artists. I mean like the people
signing the checks,
telling the artist what to do. And oh, does that mean I'm right?
Some portfolios that I see, not all, I don't want to, make it seem like it's everybody, but I would say a lot of portfolios have, it seems to be like not a lot of range, which could be a bad thing or a good thing. I've said to you this way, like, if you have a certain style that you only do and you don't do other styles, that style should be like really good. It's like, it should be like super polished so that you really stand out and that people will hire you for your ability in that style. But a lot of times, well, at least on TV animation, is that, the more versatile you are, possibly the better you are, the better, hopefully, you might get hired at a studio more, or your options of getting a job at a studio are greater, because each show has a different style of animation, a different style of how the show is, and if you can't do that style, then possibly you won't get hired at that studio. But if your portfolio shows that, hey, I'm versatile and I can do this style, I can do that style, I'm able to do this and that. It just, for me at least, it opened up more opportunities so that, if there was a slow period in animation, then, I was doing storyboards. If I wasn't doing storyboards, I was doing character design. If I wasn't doing character design, I was, when I was doing Flash, I was doing Flash animation. So that helped me. And again, I'm not saying it to artists to say that this is the end all be all, but I think at least if you are trying to get your foot in the door, the more talent that you showed you can do, possibly that will open the door.
All right, that's the I. So now we're up to the D in ride. And this, I cannot overemphasize how important delivery is. Delivery is our D. Because delivery is the last thing that clients are going to remember about you. If your delivery is great, they have a good memory, almost no matter what happened leading up to it.
Okay.
In other words, if you deliver late, they're not going to have a good memory of you. You have to deliver on time or early. You have to deliver professionally and without an attitude. The last thing they see or hear of you needs to be good, because you want them calling you back. As I mentioned earlier, you make more money from returning clients because you don't have to expend any effort or money to find them. They're existing. It costs money to attain a new client through advertising, time, promotion, whatever. Existing clients just means you kept them happy, and they call you again with no effort on your own.
Okay.
So one of the things I talk about with delivery, and I learned this from Star Trek, it's the Star Trek mode of delivery. It works every time. This is amazing. So obviously you've watched Star Trek.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit, right? You remember Scotty?
Yeah.
Right? The engineer from the original series?
Yeah.
So Scotty, so brilliant. Scotty, when can we get those engines back? Cotton, the delinium crystals are totally depleted. It's gonna be at least 2 weeks, Cotton, before I can get anything going. And then 32 minutes later, everything's running, and Scotty's a hero. So what I learned from that is overestimate how long something is going to take to do, and then deliver it early. And then you're a hero.
I've been talking and just realized I'm on mute. That's all fun. So, so hope you all enjoyed that little preview. I guess all the sound is good. And we have Chris Burns getting ready to come up and going to be talking about some things. During the interview with Chris, I was sharing with him, he had asked a question about something, the line quality that Harmony could do. So I was sharing that with him during the interview. And also, after that, I'll show you a little clip of, I'll show you the rigs and how we threw together, really quickly, how we threw together the little South Park looking characters, Star Trek characters. So my biz buddy, Mr. Chris Cartledge, shout out to Chris, did the illustrations, and I get to work with some very talented people. I don't draw as much as I used to, aka Mr. Stick Figure here. So I have people surrounding me that know how to deliver. And if you're working with me, that's kind of like this weird rampant thought I had. And I'm like, how quickly can you get that back to me? So shout out to Mr. Chris Cartledge. Also to Mr. Lamont Russ. And also shout out, she couldn't actually make it with us this year, but Kat Hudson. Those are kind of my little virtual, as it were, my little virtual studio people that I call on occasionally and go, I have a crazy idea. How quickly can you get it back to me? So, shout out to Studio Tony Teach, as it were. So I think we got a couple of things coming up that I can't show you yet, but hopefully that'll be soon. Alrighty. Meanwhile, I'm going to get ready to pull up our next video here. And share with y'all some things. I'm curious, what's in my library? What's in your wallet? Ah, wait, there it is. I think. Is that Scotty? Yeah, some of the little pieces from the characters. I have to pull up the full character there. And I think this is actually one of the pieces. Ah, there we are. It's one of the pieces from our 21-day boot camp. Little Miss Waitress indeed. Alright, so I am just coming up with perfect little bit of pause here. In 2 minutes, I'll share with you what's going on. Which, by the way, here's the rig for the Waitress, how she's put together. So I think that's kind of out of order. Well, it's in order as far as it makes sense, but nothing too crazy. And if I select this character, I usually try to teach people everything from the very beginning and very basic things. So if you look at this, there's not a lot of deformers that are happening here. We put a deformer on the skirt so we can kind of move that when she's walking. But the other thing is adding a weird bone deformer on her little hairdo here. So if I play this, it's a little play around. But yeah, cool things with bone deformers. You can kind of go, yeah, bounce the hair there. And that's one solid drawing, but just adding a deformer so you can kind of move things over time. Okay. Meanwhile, enough about me. So next up, we have. I had the honor and privilege to actually hang out with Chris Burns and from Exit 73, and you'll see why exactly I invited him, because again the work looked remarkable. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that, and let me dive in. Let me turn my mic off, in theory. Hey, this is Tony Ross for the 2D Animation Virtual Summit, and I am honored, privileged, and slightly geeking out because I've seen what the hell they're working on. I've got Chris Burns from Exit 73 Studios. Did I say all that correct?
That is correct. Thanks for having us on, Tony.
Man, first and foremost, I normally tell people, they're like, well, tell us why you think you were invited to the summit. And you know what? Screw it. Yes. Tell us why you think I invited you to the summit.
Well, we're working on a kind of a traditionally animated video game that seems to, in terms of animation and video games and stuff, it seems to gather some attention among the indie scene and stuff. So I gather you saw some of our posts on LinkedIn or Twitter and then reached out, and I was happy to oblige.
Excellent. Well, definitely, yes, that is the case. Just the work on Blood is just like, I was kind of taken aback by it. And one, it looked pretty cool.
Thank you.
Then on top of that, when I reached out to you, I was like, yeah, dude, that looks cool. What are you using to animate it? Because anyone that knows me if there is such a thing as a quote unquote Toon Boom evangelist, I guess I'm it. So it's like, so when I look at stuff, I'm looking at it going, there's no way that's done in Animate. What is that?
No. Yeah. This is going to age me a little bit, but it's actually Macromedia Flash MX, which is, probably the grandfather of Animate. And,
Yes.
there was versions before that. And I always attribute that because I came into the industry when that was really big,
Right.
Macromedia Flash MX. And it's just maybe I'm too stubborn to learn something new, or I hate to corner myself like that. But I just love the way it draws, and I love everything it can do in there. So we kind of honed our whole studio's body of work around that one program.
So inquiring minds want to know, because I mentioned this to someone else. So I was talking to Joanna Davinovich, and we're chatting about this, and this is what I'm wondering too. So I'm curious.
Sure.
You're running Macromedia Flash MX. How are you doing that?
There's some things you have to do. We're on Windows 10. We're not on. We use Windows, so we only use Apple products for like renders and stuff, which that's a whole different topic. But what you can do with Macromedia is you can kind of run an operating system downward on that. So even though we're in Windows 10. And Windows 10 is a new upgrade. We used to just keep Windows 7 and then, eventually everything. Yeah.
Okay. This
will not be working in 2 years, I'm sure. On a whole new line of employment. So if anyone's hiring out there, so you have to run as administrator. It's not all that circuitous, but it does take a little bit of finesse on downgrading it down and running as administrator and all that stuff to get it to work as it were working back in like 2003, I think it came out.
Okay. Where I was curious in that is because I know I've worked with some musicians before.
Sure.
Where they were using the software, and I said, "Oh, I'll send you the file," and they said, "No, you have to bring me the disk. I don't connect my computer online." So I was wondering, were y'all doing that? Were you like, "Oh no, we don't connect online"?
We always had this sort of fantasy about having like a dark computer that doesn't even touch the internet to save from any virus we might get or anything like that. We haven't pulled the trigger on that. And with we use Norton for antivirus stuff. We haven't really had any bad luck in terms of breaching or virus kind of stuff yet. We're a relatively small studio, or super small. There's only 2 of us actually that work in the animation side, and the video game side there's a few more folks. But the animation studio that we started is just me and my co-owner Bob Fox, and that's just all the stuff on our website that you see was produced by just 2 people in terms of visuals. All the voices and stuff, and all the scripting elsewhere, but visually speaking, it's just us 2. So it's kind of easy to mitigate that when there's just 2 of us. In terms of he sits right over here at the other side of the studio. So even if we were not hardwired to each other, I could just pass a USB to him to get the stuff. But no, we don't have a dark computer or anything like that yet.
Okay. So that's a little bit about the, that's kind of what my first question was like, because I was really curious about the pipeline.
Sure.
And so y'all are just 2 people. That's
doing the artwork.
That's doing the artwork. Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So so you're only using Macromedia Flash MX? Is that for all your projects, or is that specifically for Blood?
For Blood, it's all Macromedia, including the backgrounds. We zoom in to get the texture, so everything's vector based. And for those who don't know, that means there's no pixelation.
Right.
It also saves on memory and stuff. For games, it's pretty important. Some of our projects, though, we do use Photoshop. We use After Effects, anything like that to kind of take it out of the Flash or the Adobe Animate realm. We'll gladly do in post. All the animation, though, all every in-between and stuff, that's all Flash. And then we'll use, we'll cherry pick some stuff from Photoshop and from Adobe After Effects that really kinds of brings it more to life or look a little more professional and polished.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm still blown away because it looks incredible,
Thank
you. we all, me personally, I think this is right when I was teaching, And I loved when Macromedia was in existence because it was like Macromedia would come up with something and go, haha. And Adobe was like, oh, that's cool. Here.
Yep.
And it was like this cool game of leapfrog. And then when Adobe like bought them out, I was just like, no, this is not going to be good.
I feel your pain. I felt the same way as when I saw Adobe kind of acquiring it, I was like, I was worried about some of the changes. And we have Adobe Animate and all the Adobe suite and stuff, and we have to use it for certain clientele. When we work with people like on bigger studios, we've worked with Nickelodeon before, for instance. Now they're not going to retrofit their whole team over there to use Macromedia, so we have to obviously
gotta make some changes.
Yeah. So we use it and stuff, and it's completely adequate. And I don't really have too much bad to say about it. I'm going to be 41. I've been in the industry for about 22 years now. And it's just what I came up on. So it's something that I just learned everything on, and I kept trying to learn more and more about it. So it was just almost out of an act of stubbornness that I'll use this until I physically can. So let's hope that lasts a little longer.
I love that, and I'm trying to think. I think one of the only reasons I'm not is my background isn't studio; it's more of training. So being a professor, it was like we were teaching Macromedia Director, and then it's like, okay, we got to switch over to Flash, and we were told that over the summer. Okay, cool, switch, and then we're teaching Premiere. This is before Final Cut came out, and then figured out Final Cut Express could kick Premiere's butt, and it's like, okay, you got to learn this. Okay, cool. So I'm used to shifting gears, and now I've gotten relaxed in my own thing. But at least working with the Harmony stuff it's constantly updating and
sure.
Yeah,
I hear good things about Harmony too. I can't speak to it. I never really used it, but I know a lot of companies that do, and it's it sounds like a lot of big productions use it now and stuff. So
dude, here's an open invitation. Any day you want to go, all right, Tony, I want to show you what I would do in Macromedia Flash MX.
Sure.
Show me how you would do this in Harmony.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. And again, I'm not production background. I'm more in training background.
Sure.
So yeah, I would love to show you that.
I mean, my business partner Bob Fox, the co-owner and stuff, he's way more of a techie than I am. Mm-hmm. He learns all that stuff, and he really enjoys learning new programs and stuff too. So, I talk big game about keeping Flash MX and stuff, but like in any industry, we're going to have to eventually adapt to something. Just as long as I can keep animating and the program's simple enough for me to just keep drawing and just focus on the drawing, I think I'll be fine. But that's my take on that.
That's cool, because it's like I said, and here's the thing. It's not just because they're one of our sponsors, but it's like I always talk about the cool thing about working in Tomb. And when I first started getting into the software, coming from a Flash animation background,
sure,
I had to unlearn a lot because I was so used to quote Belle Biv DeVoe, I had to smack it, flip it, rub it down to get Flash to do what I wanted it to do, but all of a sudden, Toomba was like, dude, what are you doing? We got you. I'm like, really? I was like, and just kind of go for it. So there's a few things you have to unlearn, but once you do, holy crap, and I'm still learning. I think it's kind of I was telling someone the other day, I think Harmony is kind of you know how in Photoshop it's awesome, but you've been using it for decades and you still haven't used everything that's there, and then they come up with new stuff?
Yeah.
That's what I feel Harmony is for animation, because it's just like, I watch some of my colleagues and they're doing stuff, and I go, wait, what was that? What did you just do? Where did that come from? It's like, it's that kind of thing.
No, the one thing that I noticed about Harmony anyway, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but is the line texture, you can have a lot of variation. So you can, I see stuff that looks just like pencil test, like from when I was coming up. And
yes.
So there's like, where Macromedia doesn't have that. And I hear tale that Adobe Animate has some of that, but it looked like Harmony sort of had a better grasp of that, and you can all and do
we do. The running gag is my colleagues at Toon Boom. I've been working with them long enough that I'm quote unquote family. So it's like I'm not necessarily on payroll. I just get to work with them a lot. I think I've worked with all the different departments.
That's awesome.
I am doing something behind the scenes right now, pulling up something. So give me a second. So yeah, I'll pull up just to show you
Yeah.
what's possible, because
The time tour.
don't save. Let me go. But yeah, let me ask you this question while this is getting pulled up. Would you say it's like what 2D animation needs right now is a lot more blank? What's in that blank, if anything?
I think what I would like to see is a little more variety on time. There's plenty of variety, but let me sort of hone in on that. Like variety in terms of what like network animation can show. There's a lot of stuff, and I you can edit this out, but like the Family Guy style or the Simpsons style, it's very all kind of within the same. It feels all very similar, just in tone and style. It looks very. To put it politely, it just feels very uniform. So I would like to see a little more variety on that end, and to that end, that's when I take to Twitter and look at all the stuff the new classes coming up with, and there's a lot more styles coming out. So I'd like to see more of those kind of in the commercial front. There's a little more variety in that. I think would it just expand on the style a little bit of stuff that networks or Netflix or any of these bigger huge entities would adapt. I think there's an audience for it, and I think the audience would like it too. So there's the indie side of things that have tons of variety, and then there's the professional sides of things that seem to sort of paint themselves in a corner in terms of like the styles that can be shown, at least from the perspective of like just the United States, say. Then there's the stuff in Japanese, there's the stuff in Japan and all the other, but just a variety, I think, now that it's sort of like this global entity animation.
Okay.
For that.
Now, for me, I'm not sure if this is what you're talking about. Are you talking about, for instance, not just the style of it, but I would, when I was teaching college, I was telling my students, if you're looking at things like Family Guy or Simpsons,
sure.
if you want to see how little animation there is, turn down the volume and watch it.
Yeah.
So it's like, and at that point you realize, and don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about the chicken fights with I'm not talking about that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but like, there's
everything else is just like
pause. It'll be like,
oh my gosh, please stop it.
Peter and Lois in a kitchen and just the mouths moving.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So and it's like to their end, I get it. They're selling a joke.
Right.
They're selling. It's mostly predicated on writing. Now, Family Guy and Simpsons have a lot of visual humor too, but I'd say writing's the forefront. And where I'd like to see is the animation kind of be in the forefront in terms of style, maybe a little more finesse, stuff like that. I think on a commercial scale, something that can turn.
I think one of the things that my biggest pet peeve, and I get on the soapbox occasionally, because again, I don't consider myself an animator, but but it's one of those. But I know animation when I see it.
Sure, yeah.
So the idea that with classic things like the classic Warner Brothers cartoons,
yes,
and there are people they're working on cells. There's a guy writing the music, and he hasn't even seen the finished animation yet, but he's looking at an X sheet, working all this stuff. So all this stuff is going on, and they were able to deliver this gold. Absolutely. And meanwhile, we have the ability of studios sitting on our desk. We can drop in music, sound effects, and all the stuff that we can do. And everyone's last thing is, but it's about the story. I'm sorry, they were able to do story, art, music, and so and I get a little excited about that. But that's what
I'm with you. I find it ironic, I guess, that you look at something like Disney's, like even Disney when they were kind of on the lower end of the budget stuff, like Robin Hood, like they put all the credits in the beginning, which is something that's sort of nice as an animator, getting the
Right.
credit. But there's a handful of 26 people probably put together that whole movie. And then you fast forward to now, we got technology that could do all of that. We're literally I'm sitting in front of my work desk that I could accomplish everything that they had to do. And there's more people and less finesse, which is, it doesn't seem like that should work out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's you're understanding exactly where I'm on.
Yeah. So it's, by that very definition, you would think more people with more experience and all the history of learning everything that the 9 old men came up with, and Richard Williams and all these masters came up with. Why is it that there isn't the finesse? And there's plenty of theories on that, and I'm sure we all have them. But it's a strange dichotomy.
Yeah.
More people should mean more X, and it doesn't get X. It gets more Y. And I mean that like WHY too.
Yes, I caught the double entendre on that one. Yes.
Yeah.
So, all right, here's my next question. Do you worry that the field of animation and character art in general, do you think it's completely oversaturated with like no signs of letting up, or do you feel that all this competition is a good thing?
I usually am in favor of competition. I like that, by and large, the cream rises to the top, depending on if you're focusing on writing or art style and all that stuff. It can get oversaturated and stuff, but what I like to take this approach to it is, it's just nice to see so many people interested in animation, even to the point where they want to learn it. They're learning it on their own. They have the ability to learn it without, necessarily college education with it. They can learn it at different ages and stuff. So I look at it as a good thing that there's so much out there. But you go back to, say, the late 90s when I came into the industry, we had a few places we could literally pitch to. It was Nickelodeon, Comedy Central, MTV. I'm an East Coast guy. I never really traveled out west too much. So there's just these few avenues where you could even pitch an idea of animation. But now that this industry sort of exploded, as well as all of entertainment, now we have so many places for this animation to spread out. So I think proportionally, we're almost in the same spot as we were. We just have more avenues to pitch to grow an audience on and stuff. So I don't see it as necessarily as oversaturation, but more of like we just have we cast a wider net, and we can get an audience from YouTube or Twitter, on Instagram stories. You can, there's so many avenues now to just be an animator, where 20 years ago, even there was not as much variety into who you can even get a job from.
Right.
So I personally like the competition. But that being said, I completely see why people think, man, there's a lot more animators out there and not as many animation opportunities too.
Cool.
So there is that side of things that, like in anything that inflation affects, I guess. What's your take on that? What do you think it's oversaturated?
I like asking the question. so here's my argument on it. There are plenty of people who are saying, yes, I want to get in the biz and stuff like that. And I also know that being a trainer, I have people that'll come to me and I'll go, Tony, can you help me get into the biz? And it's like, sort of. I can teach you the software, but I've never been in the biz.
Sure.
And stuff like that. So I get to watch a lot of people, quote unquote, try to cut their teeth. And to me, it's still a confusing thing. It almost reminds me of what ended up happening with graphic design.
Sure.
Where it's just like everybody and their mother says, like, I have the Adobe on my computer. I can do your logo for $25, So you have that.
No, there's that element of it that it can be undervalued all of a sudden.
Right.
Yes, of course. No, I agree. And I noticed with a lot of younger animators who want to be, there's a few of like the parts in the industry that just have a little more glamour, like character design's a huge one. Like a lot of people want to be just the character designer. A lot of people want to be a storyboard artist. Now, you know, with that, there's, you know, cleanup artists, there's storyboard revisionists, there's punch-up people. So it's not that the industry has a shortcoming of jobs. It's just the desirable parts of the job seem to go a little quicker, you know. So and there's a lot of grunt work in it, you know. By its very definition, if you're shooting on 2s or 1s or even 3s, you know, you can do the math on what it takes for just a second of animation. So you figure the more people in the industry, the faster it can go. And you know, I've always found that there is a lot more room in the you know, kind of the entry field positions, though it's not as glamorous, you know.
Right.
Of course.
Okay. I'm going to, keep talking, but I'm going to also share my screen here. So I'm going to pull up Harmony. All right. Let me go ahead and get and this is the one thing when I'm teaching, I always have to go, don't look at the node view, not the first. I'm not going to introduce you to that first up. So,
this looked a little like when I see the programmers working on our game, kind of the
cool
things set up to the right here, like all the
nodes and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'll tell you this: when I was teaching, when I was back teaching college, I was teaching like Computer Workshop 1 and sometimes Computer Workshop 2, but basically there's like the Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign or Quark at the time, I think. And then you turn around and then you have Premiere, like I think we actually split it between Premiere and Flash. But what I would have my students do, I would give them these ugly projects. So it's like, I think at the time, I think it was the popular boy artist was out. It was Aaron Carter. So this is years ago.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, you're doing his CD cover.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is crap. Like, or then I was like, there's Cowboy Troy, who was like this country rapper, a black country rapper.
Sure.
And so I was like, I'm going to play the album. Yeah, you guys got to do his logo. And I said, you guys think you're going to get the coolest stuff? No. Somebody's got to design, like when you go to the store, someone did the whole thing for preparation H. So don't think you're going to get the cool stuff. It's not going to happen that way.
It kind of circles back to the glamorous parts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to show you this really quick. I've got my pencil tool. I'm going to hold down my O key and click and drag to the right, get my pencil a little larger here. Cool. So if I draw a nice little line there, let's go there. All right, so there's my little ugly eye. I'm going to do my traditional, whenever I'm teaching, what is that called? Whenever I'm teaching what's called drawing substitutions. Inside of Harmony, we have drawings, and drawings are like a graphic symbol on steroids. Okay. So I've got that here. What I'm going to do is see if I can remember my quick keys. Option Shift D. Yes. I just duplicated that drawing. So if you look at my frames down here, there's frame 1, there's frame 2, but this is drawing 2.
Okay.
It's frame 3, it's still drawing 2. So in drawing 2, this is my little cheat that I'll do. Like all of these pieces are separate. So
each line you drew is a separate entity sort of thing?
Yep, and it's not flattening at all. So let's pull that down. Let's do my little beach ball, stretch out a little bit. Let's pull this line down a little bit. Pull that down there. And maybe pull this down. Okay, so here we go. Oh, that's cool. All right, let's go here. Let's do this one more time. Option Shift D. And this one, I'm going to get rid of the little iris or eyeball there.
Okay.
I'm going to cheat and flip that. Bring it down a little bit. And move my little temporary pivot. Let's bring you down. Stretch you out. Okay, cool. So, not bad. All right, now, what I'm going to do from here is, let's clean this up a bit. Let's grab Mr. Cutter tool. Hello, Mr. Cutter. Basically, I'm going to do a little gestures like this so I can get rid of any extra lines that I don't want. Bye-bye. And do that there. Now, seriously, dude, get out of there. And
So
you.
it recognizes when they like cross
Yep.
each other. Very cool.
By the way, I'm just kind of using my scroll wheel to zoom in and out, and wherever. Seriously? Hold on. Press the letter K so I can see something here. Thank you. Bye bye.
Oh, okay. So it has those points as well. Cool.
Yep. So all of this is pretty decent. And I'm going to come out here. Let's extend my exposure. Let's do F5. All right. Now, here's the thing that a lot of people that I didn't understand initially. I was like, yeah, that's great, but what do I do with this? I mean, if I click play, I mean, that's all I got. You know,
Yeah.
what am I going to do with that? So here's the deal. Let's go back here. Remember I said this was like a graphic symbol on steroids. Select all of these. I'm going to click on, well, let me move my little workspace here a little different so I can see this. Thank you. K minus, which basically means hide these little the drawing subs.
Okay.
So it takes them all back to 1. So if I play this now, this is just playing. Oh, wow. I didn't mean it that way. Hold on. Let me adjust this a little bit better. Okay. So if I play this now, it's just playing that one thing.
Okay.
So let's say at frame 20, hey, parameters, still doing drawing
Oh,
one.
so you would change it to 2. Got it.
Okay, so that's one thing. Or I could, they did this a couple of versions ago. I never use it, and you'll see why in a second. I could pull up this and go, okay, cool, that's 2. Let's make this 3 here. Did I do that? Hold on, thoughts. Why are you not working? 2. Okay. Quit showing off in front of company. Thank you. All right. So the idea is I never use those. And the reason is, I'm going to go ahead and zero these out again. The reason I never use them is because there are keyboard shortcuts. So I'm normally dragging with my playhead. I'm dragging that with my right hand. I'll come here to 20. My open bracket keys, open and close bracket keys. So let's go there. Hold on 1 second. Figure out what's going on there. All right. Gotta love when things go, we're not gonna do anything today.
I do see the parallels, though, from like the same perspective of Animate or Macromedia here. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm dragging that there, and on my keyboard, I'm just using my keyboard shortcuts. I can drag my playhead a little bit further, open it back up, and let's go further, boom.
Nice.
So now, I've got my little blink going on.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay. Yeah, dude, we got a word back from the client. Could you change that? He wanted it like a little thinner. Sure. So I can just grab all of that. Not with my cutter. Let's grab the select tool. Grab everybody. I can come over here to my tool properties. I can, hey, what is that? 49, seriously? Let's make that maybe 25. 25 for our stroke weight, that's cool. Technically, I could probably, can I reposition all of these with that? I think, no. All right, so, turn it back over. Do the same thing here. We'll make this 25. But here's the one thing that you mentioned that I love showing off. By the way, I only have to do this like 3 times because it's just the drawings that it's pulling up. Okay, so let's go here. Yeah, this is cool, but can you make it look a little less, I don't know, computer? Maybe. Yep. Can I come down here and go...
Oh, wow, look at all those.
Can I do grain? Yes, we can. So, just updating this. Can I also come back in? Seriously. Not that one. Dude, what are you doing? Go to grain. Grain is probably my favorite, my go-to.
Yeah, that looked really authentic. It looked like graphite.
Yeah, and especially if you get the right color in there. Holy crap, it's really cool. And the thing is, being able to not only do that, but they came back in and it's like, That looks good. Could you go back in and make it the that thicker line
So
weight?
you can take this now and yeah, that's really interesting. So it's like sort of like the pencil tool in Adobe, except you can have texture.
Right. So
And
yeah,
it looked like you could draw a lot.
so everything, and all this is still in vector.
Oh, it is vector.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because I can still come here and go. Let me grab my contour editor. I can still change this if I wanted to. Yeah. So that's the.
wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's really cool. And there's these little guys to your side here. This is your art layers. So you have per each drawing. I have 4 sub layers I can play with, and usually when people they first open up, they'll see L and C. It's line art and color art. So it's a play off of classic animation where you're drawing the line work on one part of the cell, and you flip it over and you do the fill on the other part of the cell.
Oh, gotcha. Wow.
Yeah, it gets intense.
Yeah, no, it looks like there's a lot you could do here.
Yeah, and this, like I said, this is just this little section here.
That's really
I can still come in here, and they've done some incredible stuff with the latest version. But for instance, even after this is done, the pencil editor, I can click here and go, oh, do I want to do a thick and thin here?
so you can thicken it out. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, so you can add like, that's really cool.
So yeah, that's just one small aspect.
I know, yeah, no.
One tiny
that,
aspect. But yeah, dude, the
For-
amount of stuff. Say again?
For like export purposes, what do you do you guys export PNG sequences or?
All the above. I know. I just did a PNG sequence actually for the summit. Mark Simon did this beautiful thing and started going into doing his impersonations of Kirk and Scotty in Star Trek. So we came in and animated these little stick figures that look like are from South Park. But for that, I did, because I was rushing, and I probably could have done the entire thing inside of Harmony, but I did the main lip sync and everything over in Harmony.
Okay.
And shot over a PNG sequence, and then pulled it over to After Effects and laid it over where Mark is talking.
Very cool.
So yeah. You've got the ability to do that. You can do some of the new QuickTime or I think it's the ProRes exports. So yeah, you've got a lot of wiggle room.
Yeah, it's very cool that you can adjust the line, so really fine tune it.
Yeah, I stopped. I did this years ago, and I've learned way more about the program then, and I'm still catching up.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, the amount of stuff that you can pull off, and from what I hear, because I haven't played with it yet, if you think this drawing stuff looks good, with the latest version with 21, they've got the tilt down. So if you're drawing straight on and then you tilt, it's like you're shading with a pencil, and I'm like.
Oh,
okay.
so you kind of like the edge of it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, wow. I see what you're doing there. That's cool.
Wow, what a time we live in, huh?
I know. Yes.
Isn't it funny that we do it to make it look like it's on paper too?
Yes,
like
exactly. So it's like when you see people go, "Yeah, I could tell they totally did that old school and they did it on paper." Maybe not.
No, really, not anymore.
Yeah, because I mean, do you remember the days when they first tried to do this and you can see? Oh, I see the repeating pattern. Like, I don't see that. Now maybe someone else.
No, that's a very fine-tuned kind of thing too. Yeah. You see absolutely, I know what you're talking about. Like when it looks just like you're kind of scrunching the same line down.
Yes.
For this, it looks like it adjusts really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
No, really cool. So
while I'm doing this, let me jump. Matter of fact, enough of my work because I don't draw. I kind of suck at it. So hold on a second. I am curious.
Sure.
Let me get back to my. Not that one. Stop my screen share. Thank you. So I'm curious. How did blood come about? Like I've read a few things.
Sure.
And I'm curious, and you can answer if I read correctly.
Yeah.
You guys you were trying to pitch it initially, and then you said, okay, well, let's go ahead and do the game. Have you given any thought to still trying to pitch it, kind of coming around the back end?
I do. I think that's going to be hopefully a happy byproduct of actually completing the game. I think there'll hopefully be a thirst for more content after the game with these characters, since the whole idea of Blood was to make it look like you're playing a cartoon. Like we wanted, like that's strictly baseline what we want. It's like, does this feel like you're playing a cartoon? Much how Cuphead made it feel like you're watching a 1930s rubber hose animation. We wanted to do that with Zelda in a Cartoon Network late 90s kind of feel. So that's sort of the parallel we'll draw from that. But yeah, it started as a pitch. We were actually working on a pilot with Disney. Had nothing to do with Blood. And as a lot of animators might tell, when you deal with production and stuff, there's a lot of red lights and green lights and stuff. So we were at a red light. We had some time on our hands, and we were like, always sort of had that fun idea of like, oh, why don't we just kind of make a parody of almost like Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Yes.
In a very cartoony kind of charming way. We came up with this 45-second, just sort of action sequence. Doesn't look too much like the game right now, but in its infancy, it looked a little different, a little more Samurai Jack. I guess we were really into that then. We pitched it to Disney, who we were with the pilot with, the other pilot we were working on. Then the other pilot picked up, and we were just like, well, we're back to the races. Let's get back to the other pilot we're working on. And it just sat there until our old roommate, Bob and I were roommates. Our old roommate, who happened to be a video game programmer, was looking through some of our pitch packets, and he's like, this might make a cool game. And kind of a light bulb moment happened, and I'm like, yeah, it could be a game. Let's try it. So that's sort of, it started as a failed pitch, and now it's morphing into something. And like you said, hopefully if the game comes out, it's a little bit of a success, and people are like, can this be a show? It'll be a really backwards way to make a show.
Yes, a very backwards way, but it could work.
If all roads lead to that, that's funny. But just full on board making a game now, and with the game, we'll have cutaway scenes, so like you can merge them all together and get sort of like this pilot almost. So we're going to try to use every part of this to its maximum efficiency almost. So
cool.
Yeah.
So, platform-wise, which platforms are you all looking at?
Well, we have an Xbox dev kit that the game works primarily on now, but and we're pretty far from the finish line. So I would say like Nintendo Switch and stuff, but there's probably going to be like another amalgamation of Nintendo that whatever the next generation of Nintendo is, will probably look to score with that. I think just the way it looks and sort of the audience, it's very much kind of a younger Nintendo-ish audience, where Xbox sort of has the, late teens, adults. Sony's sort of in the middle, and Nintendo's more family-friendly, I'll say. We'll go for that. But that being said, I would like to get it on every platform that will accept us, and how much work that entails is yet to be seen. But aiming for Nintendo. Anything else we'll happily have, call it home.
Okay. So I think I got two more questions.
Sure.
One, because we're both kind of old school and coming from Macromedia and before in the long ago, in the before time.
Yeah, I know.
What I want to see is, or what would you like to see happen with 2D animation software?
Oh, well, you showed me the cool line texture and stuff on it. That would have been my first answer. Seeing a little more like stuff that kind of falls back on that old school look. But I'm really happy with the programs just being able to draw now. When I graduated SVA and had a bachelor degree in animation, fine arts, but I studied animation. It was all on paper. we're scanning it in. Well, my first year, we didn't even have After Effects. I was doing it on the Oxberry, which was
Oh, wow.
well, I'm glad times have changed, because that I couldn't run a studio that way. So we were doing it, scanning it into After Effects, and doing it, painting it in Photoshop, getting all that stuff. It was a real drudge, you know. So now that I just got the ability to draw frame by frame in something, it just feels like such a victory lap I could take with animation now. So I just use it at its core, Macromedia, just the camera. It's sort of like my Oxberry. I just use it for frame by frame stuff. So, you know, they sort of master that in terms of, it looks like Harmony did a lot of that too.
Right.
So I'm not really looking for all that much in newer stuff, because I'm just focusing primarily on the frame by frame digital avenue for the most traditional way I can do it.
Okay.
So that's, you know, I don't have any real complaints in seeing what you just did at Harmony and be like, oh, you can even do the pencil stuff. That's the one thing we're missing from Macromedia and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know I know they just updated their gaming abilities, like connected to Unity and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. No, it's really cool. Our pipeline with the programmers and stuff. Mm-hmm. We treat everything like we're animating a cartoon, and they take it, throw it in Unity, throw it in, I think it's called Texture Packer for making sprites. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we're off to the races. We have a real kind of a skeleton crew. We have 2 programmers, a writer, 2 artists, and, you know, we're trying to go for an 8-hour game here. So it's you know, in terms of game production, it's a pretty small team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Well, thank you. It's not finished yet, so it's not that impressive.
Dude, do you realize how many bastard brain children ideas that I have stuck in the back of my head somewhere? You're working on it, so that's impressive. So let's be clear.
It's funny. I think about like the beginning of my career, and it used to be just pitch our idea and try to sell it to someone who would then sell it to someone else. That's essentially what pitching is. You know, if you're pitching to, say, a Netflix and stuff, you're doing it so they can make it into a show, and then they sell it to their audience. Right. What I learned as a small studio is, why don't we just pitch in the sense that let's just get it directly to an audience. So it would always behoove us. It's like, let's just make it ourselves. We could throw some stuff on YouTube, see if it garners any interest, and then use that as like, well, that's our audience now. That's who our bosses are. The audience, rather than sort of the more global side of things where you just pitch to a big studio and then have a bigger company make it and then they pitch it to the audience. So I just found it almost streamlined. In a weird way, like stop pitching to them made me pitch more to an actual audience. You know,
I think that's the way the way it should go. I think that keeps the ideas a lot more pure.
Yes.
And it stops you from getting the cookie cutter. Mm-hmm. Well, can you make it look like this show?
Yeah, there's always a lot of, you know, and not to say that compromise is even bad, but there's a lot more compromise that goes into making a network show or just getting it onto a platform than I think the audience realizes.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of kind of bureaucratic red tape you almost have to run through.
Agreed. Alrighty. So, thanks, Tim. Appreciate that. Mark, I think you were trying to post a link. This is the link I think Mark was talking about. in answering Ashley's question about how to get started in storyboarding. Let me get back to normal here. Thank you. Quit it. Thank you. So yeah. Thanks, Darren. Yes, there's a lot of really cool stuff that Chris was talking about. For me, like again, what blew me away about and Lamont, you were asking about the link to the game, Blood, like BLUD game.com, and of course the studio itself is Exit 73 Studios. But yeah, I was still geeking out the fact that it's like, oh, I'm using Flash and Max. I'm going, you're doing what? It's like, the holy grail of when stuff was out there. So it's really crazy. All right, so where are we on time? So coming up next, going to be chatting with Mark Simon, which... Ooh, good call, Mark. Ashley, you should join WIA, Women in Animation. They have a great job board. It's like one of the hardest working people I know, Mr. Mark Simon. And the fact that you've actually been hanging out all day in the chats, dude, that means a lot. Bro hug, man. I'm not going to fanboy you, but thank you. So yeah, I was showing you all this is a really ugly little thing. Yes, one of our living legends who has an awesome man cave. So Ashley, good job. Yes, keep going forward on that. Bro hug, listening while I work. I couldn't imagine you like, if Mark Simon says, yeah, dude, I'm just going to sit here and do nothing. I'm going to go, dude, this is an alien. It's not Mark. But I was kind of playing around with the idea. When Mark did the talk, I sent out a thing to Chris Cartledge, my biz buddy, and I was like, dude, I want a little South Park character, so had him throw this together. So by the way, and if you're looking at the node view, this is no way to do this is not how to set up things correctly. This is just Chris threw together the work really quick. And so this is even before I went in and started doing animating. I think I cut it out, so this is I said, yeah, just throw it together real quick and I'll just handle the different pieces. So yeah, I think I want to say, yeah, Scotty's eyes. Okay, normal. And if I go to drawing 2, that's there. Is there a 3? Yeah, 3 is closed. Then of course the mouths, I think, I want to say, I'm trying to think, is the mouth on a separate one? This is a while ago we did this, so trying to remember stuff. But yeah, and what I ended up doing, if you look, this little rectangle here, I set up 2 different cameras. So I literally exported out once I finished doing the lip sync and everything, exported out a PNG sequence. I exported one for Scotty, but then I can also come over here, and I could have probably just done this with 2 different camera setups, but then I just move this over and then exported out the full sequence for Kirk. I have my sound imported on here. Like, yeah, this is sound for Scotty, which is why those actually still layered over there. But you'll see where that came in, or if you saw the little trailer for the summit itself, But when Mark did that, I was just like, one, I'm going to say this now because one, I thought it was pretty informative, but the talk that Mark did was he's let me know, dude, I did this exclusively. I said, this is what I'm going to come up with. I'm like, thank you. So I wanted to do a little extra in how we presented it. So not only with the little Star Trek characters, but breaking down the acronym and setting up all the type and everything like that. It was really, really cool. And it was weird because it was like, it felt like he was giving some great advice, but at the same time, he's looking in the camera, so he's peering into my soul going, Tony, I know this is something you normally screw up on, so do better. I'm like, yes, sir. So, anyway. Let's see, where are we at? It's like 2:07. Do I want to start early? Am I gonna tick people off by starting early? Hold on. La 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 la. Logan, are you back in town yet? We eventually got to go hit Mark's man cave again. Okay, so without further ado, coolness. Okay, you're in town Sunday. Okay, cool. Give me a holler. So I am curious. Ashley, I think you said you're in Texas. Logan's hitting us from Florida. Tim is hitting us from Shanghai. It's like, where's everybody else hitting from? Darren, where are you? And I am doing small talk while I'm getting this next video up to run. Yes, because it's like, Tim, is it what? I know at the beginning of the day it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, why are you still up, dude? Much love. Not that I'm telling you to go away, but wow. Yeah. Okay, Darren's in Toronto, Canada. Cool. Alrighty. I'm gonna go ahead and you're working on the rig video. Yes. Yeah, I was checking out the other one you posted. That was pretty cool. Okie dokie. So I'm going to get ready to start this video. I'm going to start 5 minutes early, if that's okay with Mark. La 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 la. Let me grab this video here. Alrighty. So this is going to be Mark Simon and giving some really awesome advice on freelancing. I learned a lot and I keep studying the darn thing because dang. Let's see. What was that question? Hold on. Just got a production meeting and missed the last hour. Will this be posted to YouTube to watch later? Yes. It is posted. There's a playlist of the summit this week, and then next week there is the a lot of the videos, a lot of the interviews are actually longer than 45 minutes. Actually, Mark's came in under 45, so when I play this, you're going to see the entire thing. But some of the videos are longer. And there'll be 2 separate playlists next week, both of them on YouTube. One will be the live summit, and the other will be some of the interviews. And I think we may even start adding to it because there were some really awesome people that I was trying to get in for this week, but we may have to add them in like next week. So it'll be like these little bonus people that we didn't get to do during the week. But yes, there is a link. The short answer to your question is yes, there's going to be replays of this posted, as well as the full length ones without commentary and without all the little comments and everything. Comments and commentary, same thing. Never mind. But yes, that'll be posted next week. All right, so let me grab this next video here. Hey, this is Tony Ross for the 2D Animation Virtual Summit, and I am with my good friend, compadre, brother, I don't know, confidant, Mr. Mark Simon, godfather of storyboarding. What's up, dude?
Hey, top of the morning to you, Tony. Always great to hang with you.
Excellent, sir. The studio looks awesome as always. I want to get back out there when things get a little less crazy.
Yeah, you got to draw your Angry Berry on my bathroom wall with all the other cartoons.
Okay, I like that idea. Cool. So I am privileged, and evidently we're all privileged. Mark is going to be sharing something with us, talking about freelancing and stuff. But before we get there, dude, what have you been up to? What's been going on?
Well, it's been absolutely crazy. I mean, since the COVID shutdown reopened up, the amount of productions that have been overlapping each other has been insane. So I've been, every week, it's been about 4 different major productions that I've been on at the same time.
Oh, wow.
I've got other artists helping me. So the studio has been busier than I've ever been. So everything from Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead World Beyond to Stranger Things and various versions of that to the new Dexter series, I boarded all of that, to the new superhero series, Naomi, to the Vampire Academy. We're doing a series in Spain, live action series based on that. The movie just premiered today on Disney Plus called Under Wraps that I storyboarded. I've been working on the biopic of George Foreman, and it's great because I even have a connection to George. So it's just been a crazy amount of work and all so much fun.
Very cool. You stay crazy busy, and I don't know. It's like I just picture you like doing shots of wheatgrass and yoga first thing in the morning. So just to keep up with it all.
A glass of orange juice, and I'm good to go. No caffeine, baby.
Dude, that is awesome, and I aspire to get there to that point. I'm not there yet.
Oh, you're doing great, man.
Coolness. Well, let me go ahead and see if I can pin you up here. So what I want to do is kind of bug you with something that's been bugging me.
Okay.
Over the years, I've had an on again, off again, love-hate relationship with freelancing and working with clients, deciding not to work with clients, and what do you do with the money, and what about the taxes? Why is this there? S-Corp, all this craziness.
Right.
So I wanted to invite a couple of people that I know that seem like they've got like old hat, and how are they pulling that off? So, dude, what's your secret? Tell me how to do freelancing.
Well, as far as the billing and taxes, I've got a thing we'll get into in a second on how to be successful as a freelancer. Fun little thing that I created just for this. But as far as money and taxes, it kind of depends on how you're freelancing, because in a lot of production, they actually prefer you to be an actual employee of the production. So you would fill out a W-2, and then you when you fill out your forms, you have them take out all the taxes enough so that at the end of the year, hopefully you've balanced it just right where you don't owe anything, but you're not getting anything back either. You don't want to get a big check next year for tax that were taken out, because that just means that too much money was taken out and you weren't able to use it during the year. So that's where you talk to your accountant and try to figure out, all right, if I'm making this much, how many, how should I set up my start form so that the right amount of taxes are taken out?
Okay.
So that's one thing. I actually have a little bit extra taken out of mine because I also have a subchapter S corporation. So when I'm dealing with clients that are not union or specific things that I don't want to be 1099, which you're taxed at a different rate, and you can't, as 1099 income, you're limited on what you can write off as far as expenses. But corporations can write off a lot more. So if I'm not acting as an employee, I bill out through my corporation.
Okay.
And subchapter, there's two different types of corporations, really three. There's LLC, limited liability company, which is the cheapest and easiest to do. There's subchapter S, which gives you more protection. Still only costs like $50 a year and not a whole lot of paperwork. And then there's a C Corp, which it costs a lot more to run, a lot more to open, but really you only benefit from the tax benefits if you make over like $250,000 a year. So, but it's a lot more paperwork, so you generally need someone else to help you keep that up. So I decided to do the subchapter S and mix that with my W-2. And subchapter S, at the end of the year, the profit from the company rolls into your personal. So the corporate subchapter S does not pay tax itself. You as the owner pay the taxes. That's why I have my W-2 income take out extra taxes to make up for the other tax I'm going to owe from my rollover income from my subchapter S.
Okay. I'm liking that.
Yeah. So it's just a way to look at it. And if you're not set up with all of that, just take a quarter of your profit. You got to figure out what kind of expenses you're writing against and just put that into a savings account, because at the end of the year, you're going to owe that amount in taxes. So
Okay.
just plan for it. Don't keep it in your regular account. You think, hey, I've got 20,000 sitting in my account, and all of a sudden 5 to 6 of that has to go to the government. And if you're spending the money along the way, you might not have it. So
Right.
it's just easier. Act as if it's just savings, put it aside so you're not even looking at it. It makes it a lot easier to pay your taxes.
I'm loving the sound of that. That's definitely stuff I have to make some moves toward. So it's like as of yesterday. Awesome. So you mentioned, so you've done something special for today, and so what do you got for us?
Yeah. All right. So when you and I were talking leading up to this, we were talking about one of the things that you want to hit this time around is freelancing and how to succeed at it. And you and I have had a lot of private talks about the business and working in the industry as well. So I thought, so what would be a fun way to take the information, which could just kind of drone on, but make it memorable? And being a freelancer can really be crappy at times, because there's parts of it that are not fun. Now, I still love it. I love what I do. I love running my own business, but it can still be crappy. So I thought, it doesn't have to be a crap ride. So if we take the letters from crap ride to 8 letters, there's 8 different elements to look at to succeed as a freelancer. And I figured we'd just go through that, and hopefully it'll be more memorable. People can think, crap ride. What did he say the C stood for? All right.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through
Awesome.
crap ride and try to help everybody listening, all of your amazing viewers, on how to be more successful.
I'm loving that. Cool.
All right. So shall we start?
Let's start.
All right. So C from crap. The C stands for communicate. Probably by far the most important thing to do as a freelancer, because as long as you're communicating, there's no questions. Your clients know what to expect and when to expect it. Whenever you don't know something, your mind will work towards the worst, and the last thing you want is a client thinking the worst about you. So if you're in the middle of a 2-week project, you don't wait until the end of 2 weeks to show them something. every day or every other day, send them something, even if it's just an email saying, hey, here's where I am, this is what I'm doing. Or yesterday I had to go to the doctor, but don't worry, I'm making up the time, so by late tonight or tomorrow I'm going to send you something. Whatever it is, just communicate. Let them know what's going on. They don't have to worry. And the less a client worries, the more they enjoy good communication, the more they're going to call you again for the next project. And see, that's the thing. Successful freelancing is old clients continuously calling you. You make more money from existing clients than you do from finding new clients.
Okay.
Okay, so that's C, communicate. Just talk, email, phone calls, email, whatever. All right. The next one, and this is something, because I mentor a lot of young people coming into storyboarding. And the next one is something I get after them all the time on their websites in particular, is you need to be reachable. The R in crap is reachable, which means everything you send out has to have your contact information. Every page on your website has to have your contact information. Email and phone number. Every poster, I always say poster because I send out big images of my storyboards to clients that they can print them out and things like that. It has my contact information on it.
Awesome.
Every page of my storyboards, when I export them out, all my contact information is on the bottom of every page. Why? Because at the moment someone thinks, oh, I need a story artist, or I like this guy's stuff, I don't want them to have to look for how to find me. It's right there. So no matter who has my stuff, finding my website, no matter where they are, instantaneous, I am reachable. But that also means if they call you, you have to respond within 15 minutes. As a freelancer, you've got 15 minutes because they're going through a list. The production has no time. Everything is last minute. So if a production, whether it's a commercial, TV series, or movie, if they call me, I know I'm somewhere in that list. Hopefully I'm at the top. Hopefully I'm the first, but I might be the third. But if I don't get back to them in 15 minutes, they're calling the fourth or the fifth. And the first person to respond gets the gig. Okay. So you have to be responsive as well as reachable. Oh, we got a double header on that R. Responsible and reachable.
Like crap.
Responsive and reachable. Yeah. You got a bonus here already. How great is that?
Awesome, dude. I'm loving that 15-minute thing. That's damn. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's I try instantly to get back to people, but I found that generally if they really want you, they'll wait a few minutes before they call the next person.
Okay.
But they're not going to wait long because they have to find someone.
Right.
So it makes sense when you think about it.
Very cool.
All right. So the A in crap is advertising. So what I like to tell people is you can be the absolute best at what you do. But if no one knows it, they don't have the opportunity to hire you.
Okay.
The way they know it is by getting your name in front of them. And that's advertising. And that could be as simple as putting together a list of people who need to know who you are and emailing them. Could be sending them flyers, little gift things, buying ads. Here in Atlanta, there's an email that goes out. I don't even remember the name of the group that puts it out, but at the end of every email, they have a list of preferred vendors in the industry, and you buy into that list. And I bought out for the last couple of years. I'm the only company for storyboarding and illustration in the industry. So I'm on that list in every email he sends out. Okay. So again, it just keeps my name out there in front of people. So when they think, oh, hey, we need storyboards, my name or my company name is what's out there in front of everybody all the time. So I'm doing what I can to make sure that I'm always the first person someone calls. So that's what advertising is. That's why we sit through so many ads all the time. There's a lot of great soft drinks, but Coke promotes the most. So even if you don't like Coke the most, that's the first thing you're going to think of, because their name is always in front of you. Advertising works.
Cool.
But here's the flip side of that. It's expensive. or
Yes.
can be expensive. That's where the P comes in from crap, which is promotion. Promotion is free advertising. Okay? Now, if you put together your own list of emails, that doesn't cost you anything but time. But promotion is where you can get into print or on air or in podcasts or whatever, and someone else promotes you that you don't have to pay for. See, promotion is great. You're offering someone content. They're offering you FaceTime and connection and contact to hopefully new people. Okay, so that's the synergy of promotion. You offer something, they offer you something back. Generally, it means that that's going to be a story. So if you want to promote something in some industry trade, generally it's not going to be a promotion. Is not, hey, hire Mark to do your storyboarding. Well, that's not promotion. That's begging. And no one's interested in promoting you that way. But if I say, this year I'm celebrating 35 years working in the industry. Okay, well, that's a story. Or Under Wraps, the Disney Plus movie Under Wraps premieres today. And we have a few minutes to talk to the story artist. You can find different approaches, but it's always got to be a story thing. You'll get promotion as far as what you do from that, but don't think about selling yourself. Think about a story that the viewership of the people you're reaching out to would be interested in. And that gives you promotion. Okay, are we good?
Good. Yes.
All right, so we've gone through crap. We came out looking really good on the other side of that crap pile. Now we're going to go on our ride, all right?
Okay.
So the R in ride is rate. You need to know how much to charge. Now, there's a few things you can do. One, talk about how much you charge and ask other people how much they charge. We've always been taught not to talk about that. But you know who started that? Businesses. They don't want you talking, because when people know things, see, knowledge is power. If you know that these people, 5 people, are making more money than you, well, then you're going to ask for more money. See, that the power of talking makes us as the workers stronger. You have to talk to the people you work around. I've asked other story artists how much they charge, and I tell the people I mentor how much I charge and how I charge. It's really important for us to share this information. So if you're told don't talk, that's only because they're trying to keep you down. So you need to know it. Now, there's other ways besides just asking other people. There is looking in there's a book that comes out every few years called the Graphic Artists Guild Pricing and Ethical Guidelines.
Yes.
Okay. I actually helped rewrite the pre-production for the latest edition on the rates. And in fact, I rewrote the structure of that section for them. So that is up to date. I've used that for years and years and years. So it's got everything on for every type of everything from textile design to cartooning to animation and storyboarding, you name it, it's in there on the range of rates. Obviously, if you're just beginning in storyboarding, you're not going to charge how much I do because I've been doing it for so long, right? So it covers all that, and it covers sample contracts and how people work and what people expect. It's a fantastic book. You can also, there's unions and trade agreements for many, many different types of art or people who work in the industry. So to at least know what the unions charge, their agreements are online for free. You don't have to be part of a union to download their PDF of their agreement and their rate structure. I just got on last night onto the Animation Guild and download their union to see how much people are charging for different things. I'm going to be sharing that next week in another talk. So that's free for everybody. And then one of the things that I do because obviously I'm at the top end of all of that just because I've been doing this so long, is I keep raising my rate until people balk. I don't just stay at the same rate. I just keep raising it until someone says, well, I can't afford that. Then I know I've reached the top end of what the industry can afford. And then next year I'll tease it and try to raise it up a little bit again. If you don't keep asking for more, you won't get more.
Right.
I've only ever had one production say, hey, we'd like to give you more. It was actually Fear the Walking Dead. It was great. This last season. They said, hey, we're giving you a 3% raise. Cool. We'll turn that down. But you need to know what people are getting and what you can get, what the range is, and keep testing that upper boundary as you get more experienced and keep working to get as much as you deserve.
Cool.
All right. That's the R. So in ride, now we're up to I. So the I is improve. You need to keep improving. Technology is always advancing. I mean, you know this. You're dealing with, because you're this master at training in software, it's always changing.
Yes.
If you don't keep up with it, you will fall behind and some other young upstart is going to take your position. Right?
Yeah. I was telling, interrupting for a second, I would always tell when I was teaching college, I was like, yeah, you guys aren't studying the software. Meanwhile, these elementary school kids who have been raised with the internet are going to be your boss. Like, period. Like, just, you gotta keep up with everything.
Oh yeah, look, I've been storyboarding over 30 years. It's changed a little bit.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. So I keep up with it, and then I work with the with software developers. You know, you and I both work with Toon Boom.
Yeah. So
I know the latest, and I help make sure that it's always continuing to grow. I do what I can to offer my help. Because if I didn't, other people would. I mean, I had to change my art style a few years ago because I realized that some of the younger artists were drawing differently, and it was attracting the producers and directors. They wanted that kind of look. So I adjusted my style to be more of what people were buying, and my business exploded. So you always have to look at what you're doing. Is there something you can be doing better, something you can be improving, the latest software that's going to be beneficial for you to work with? Don't just hold on to something because you've been doing it. That no one cares except you, right? We have to keep up. I don't want to just keep up. I want to be ahead of the game. I want everyone else following me because I want to be that first phone call every time someone needs it. And it takes work. I'm not saying this stuff is easy. I work my ass off to get where I am and to stay as busy as I am. But that's why I'm busy. It's because everything we're talking about, I do. And you know this. You and I talk about this all the time. I don't just sit back on my laurels. Like, what else can I do? How can I get in front of new people? What's the latest out there? How can I improve what I'm doing? Oh, that's a cool thing. Will that benefit me? I'm always looking for that.
Okay.
All right. That's the I. So now we're up to the D in ride. And this, I cannot overemphasize how important delivery is. Delivery is our D. Because delivery is the last thing that clients are going to remember about you. If your delivery is great, they have a good memory, almost no matter what happened leading up to it.
Okay.
In other words, if you deliver late, they're not going to have a good memory of you. You have to deliver on time or early. You have to deliver professionally and without an attitude. The last thing they see or hear of you needs to be good, because you want them calling you back. As I mentioned earlier, you make more money from returning clients because you don't have to expend any effort or money to find them. They're existing. It costs money to attain a new client through advertising, time, promotion, whatever. Existing clients just means you kept them happy and they call you again with no effort on your own.
Okay.
So one of the things I talk about with delivery, and I learned this from Star Trek, it's the Star Trek mode of delivery. It works every time. This is amazing. So obviously you've watched Star Trek.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit, right? You remember Scotty,
Yeah,
right? The engineer from the original series.
yeah.
So Scotty, so brilliant. Scotty, when can we get those engines back? Cotton, the delinium crystals are totally depleted. It's gonna be at least 2 weeks, Cotton, before I can get anything going. And then 32 minutes later, everything's running, and Scotty's a hero. So what I learned from that is overestimate how long something is going to take to do, and then deliver it early. And then you're a hero. So let's look at this. If something will take you 3 days, tell a client it will take you 4 or 5. Why? Well, because life. Shit happens.
Right.
Yeah, it'll take me 3 days. Oh, crap. The second day in, my kid got sick or broke their arm. Well, that's going to take up a half day minimum, if not the whole day. So if I estimated 4 or 5 days, I've got a little leeway for shit that happens where I can still deliver on time the same quality that they're expecting. So if nothing happens and I told them 4 days, I deliver in 3, I'm a hero. Oh my God, this is great. Look, he delivers early. This is amazing. We never have to worry about him. Now, same project. I'm thinking, I'll tell him 2 days. Get a jump on all my competition. But it takes the 3 days that I really knew it was going to take. Now they'll never call me again.
Right.
I delivered in 3 days in both options. One, I'm a hero. The other, they'll never call me back. Same 3 days. But the expectations that I set for the clients were different. So, under promise, over deliver. Always give yourself time in case something happens. Because I'm sure you've never had your computer go down or your software lock up.
Never,
It
ever.
never happened.
It's never happened.
No. And when it does, it only takes 5 minutes, right? That you don't waste a half day or have to take your computer into Geek Squad. You
Okay.
know this is going to happen. So
Yes.
you meaning everyone listening to this. So just plan for it. It's not that difficult to realize if it's going to take me 3 days, I'm going to tell the client 5. And then they're going to say, but I need it in 4. Okay, fine. I'll get it to you in 4. You're still giving yourself a day. They feel good because they negotiated you down. You still have a day leeway. Set up proper expectations. Your life will be better. Your clients will be happier. You'll make more money. I don't see a problem here. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right. So now
Writing
we're
the
going to
stuff
wrap
down.
up. Yeah. So now we're going to wrap up our crap ride with the final E. Final E is email follow-up. Really could be any kind of follow-up. Could be a phone call. But I'm saying email follow-up because I needed that E for ride. Okay?
Okay.
Touch base with your clients. 2 different reasons. One, when you deliver, don't assume they're getting it. Because no one, if production people are busy, they might not be sitting on their email looking at it. Has it come in? Has it come in? Has it come in? They might not even know that you're delivering a day early. They're off on other things. So when you deliver something to a client, call or text them. Hey, I just sent this file to you. If you don't get it, let me know.
Okay.
Because if it goes their spam, they're not looking in their spam. They're blaming you for it not arriving.
Right.
But if you let them know that you sent it, see, you've communicated. See, we're going all the way back to our first letter in crap. As long as you communicate, they know what to expect. And it's not going to come back on you. Oh, he sent it. I don't see it. Well, let me look at my spam. Or they'll call you back. Hey, can you try sending that again? I didn't get it for some reason. Might be a problem with our email. Fine. You're communicating. No one's going to get upset about that. But if you just send it and then go off on vacation and the client doesn't get it, all they're thinking is that you didn't send it. You didn't communicate. So that's one type of follow-up, to make sure the delivery goes through and that they know to look for it. The other is just as a reminder that you're alive. So for instance, I mentioned that I make posters of my storyboards, right? I take a really cool sequence from a cool project and I'll lay it out as a poster and I'll send a big PDF file to a client. Something they can print out for themselves. They think it's really freaking cool. It's a reminder. Some of them print it out, they put it up on their wall. How does that help me? They look up on their wall and that's my advertising right there in front of them, right? Or it's just a reminder, hey, I hadn't worked with someone for a while. Hey, hope you think of me when the next episode comes up. I'd love to storyboard for you again. Oh, that's right. You were doing those. And boom, I'll get a phone call, right? So just reminding people that you're there and alive, right? The first person I think of is the first person that gets the phone call. You get the first chance of saying yes and landing another gig. That's only if you're top on their mind. It's follow-up, just keeping in touch with people.
Awesome. Dude, I was thinking like, yeah, I probably know. Okay, I didn't know that one, or I didn't think of that one. And the 15-minute thing is just like, because I know I do that with one client, but it never occurred to me to, because I'm like, yeah, I'll get to them later. So that is.
Yeah, but how often, especially with emails, we'll get an email, oh, I'll get back to that later. And then it gets lost in the other 300 that come in during the day, right, and we never get back to them. If it's work related, it's got to be instant.
Cool. Loving that.
Yeah. So that's my crap ride on how to be a successful freelancer.
Awesome. Dude, that is, yeah, thank you. That is awesome. And I think you could almost, that was quick, but you could, I was saying to you earlier, do you do like a book or a workbook or something? It's like, have you done this? Here's your checklist. Have you gone through your checklist? Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, and I'll probably flesh that out more. I mean, I wanted to come up with something memorable. Yeah. For this, because I love what you're doing and I love how you're helping people here. So, and I knew that, like always, we always get into great discussions and things go on. So I didn't want to take up, an entire hour. Because I knew that you would ask something else and we get off into other things. But yeah, it's which is fun. I mean, that's one of the great things about when you and I get to talking. It's like, oh yeah, what about this? Right?
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, Mark, this has been incredible. Besides the, I know you said was it the under wraps thing? Like, what else you got coming on? What else you got going on? What's coming up next?
This afternoon, I start working on another episode of Snowfall. We're now in the 5th season. I storyboarded last season for them as well. Next Wednesday, I start on another episode of Fear the Walking Dead. I delivered yesterday an episode of Vampire Academy. So later next week, I start another one on that. The biopic of George Foreman, we were actually shooting in New Orleans right before the hurricane hit.
Oh, wow.
So, and the roof of the building blew off of our production studio. So that put the movie back. So we don't start back into pre-production again until the end of November. So we got pushed back a little bit there. But there's always just ongoing, all my other ongoing shows. I'm still working on some Stranger Things elements. And, there's always the commercials that are coming in. So there's always quite a bit. And I know I always forget things. I know the next big thing that I worked on, well, Fear the Walking Dead season 7 premieres, I think next week when we're recording this, in the middle of October. And and then in November, I believe the new season of Dexter comes out. The re-envisioning or the follow-up season 9, season 10, whatever they call it. I don't remember. I know it's the next season after it was canceled many, many years ago. And it's amazing. I can't wait to see it. There was 2 directors did the whole thing. I storyboarded every episode. I did over an hour of animatics on the show. Yeah. I'm really excited for everyone to see that.
I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, I was a big Dexter fan. And what was also cool, I storyboarded the original pilot on Dexter too.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I did not know that.
I go way back on that show. Yeah,
that is too cool.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, I am going to let you go. Thank you again for taking time to hang out with us. And as always, it's just a wealth of knowledge. And thank you for that crap ride. It's one of the best crap rides I've ever had. So thank you.
See, it's memorable. That's the thing. You're going to remember all that now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. This has been Tony Ross for the 2D Animation Virtual Summit with the Godfather of Storyboarding, Mr. Mark Simon, signing off. Say bye, Mark.
Bye, Mark. Bye, everybody.
Alrighty. So yeah, that was hanging out with Mark and talking about different things to do with freelance. Me personally, like I said, I learned a lot about that. The delivery was one of the major ones because I know I suck with that. But also I love the idea of when people are reaching out to you, getting back to them within 15 minutes. But yeah. Thank you all. Appreciate that. So we have come to the end of day 2. I seem to be in what is it? I'm a lot healthier than I was last year doing this. Faster computer, a little more organized, knowing what we're doing. That kind of helps. So, letting you all know, if you didn't get the email already, let me send you the thing, because we're going to be doing a couple of things tomorrow. Tomorrow's hump day. So, going to do... That's not what I'm looking for. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a couple of things. Yeah, there we are. There we are. If you haven't signed up already, this is probably a good time to go ahead and do that. So tomorrow, in addition to having our lineup, we have, starting off today at 10:15, it'll be Joanna Davinovich, and she has some awesome advice and humor. She's again the one of the people who's back for the 3rd year, and I really appreciate that. Our Gandalf, as it were, and he'll smack me for it, the great Tony White. If you have no idea who Tony White is, it's like we're talking before the book The Animator Survival Kit came out. His besides the Preston Blair book, was one of the only animation books that was out there. So look up Tony White, animator. He's going to be at 11:15. We also have after lunch, 1:15, we're going to have one of my buddies, Tyree Morrow, is going to be on, and we're talking about projects and working with different clients and things like that. And last but not least, we have Mr. Tony Grillo, Bad Tony. And I'm trying to think, what the heck did Tony Grillo and I talk about? Because I know Tony's got like decades of experience like animating and directing. And now he's one of the people that does some teaching for Timbim, because we both actually occasionally do classes. Okay, speaking of, Thursday, we have Lindsay Noller that's going to be coming up. And Lindsay is going to be talking, we're going to be talking about the 7 gifts of rigging. I like to call it the 7 deadly sins. Like, here are the things that you kind of mess up on. But we have that. We also have Mr. Roberto Rodriguez. We're going to be talking about different things in the industry. What I love about Roberto, one, is awesome talent, but he also has the experience of, we always talk about sending animation overseas. And like Roberto's actually worked there, so it's kind of cool. Get to hear his opinion on X sheets and why they should come back. It's kind of cool. And after lunch on Thursday, we have Laren DeJarnette. And Laren is, I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh. I know he recently worked on, when the, I want to say with the Proud Family came back. So he was actually working on that, but he's one of the directors at Disney. So get to hang out with him. And I'm also going to be doing a little more in-depth tutorials. I'm probably going to do another, not a basic rig, but Thursday we're going to close out doing a more involved rig and harmony. I'll probably do live. Friday is going to be coming up where we have AJ Cote from Toon Boom talking about classes that Toon Boom actually has. We also have my good buddy Mr. Ollie Putland talking about the rigs and things he's done. If you're ever trying to learn Toon Boom, for instance, check out Ollie Putland on what is that thing called? YouTube. He also has a really cool Patreon because he's put together a really awesome ebook that you get from his Patreon. So it's definitely worth a look. And then as far as our interviews, the last one for the week is Mr. Robert Valley. And if you're not familiar with Robert Valley, take a look at, well, one, I first learned about his work with the Pear Cider and Cigarettes. He also did these really cool Wonder Woman shorts a couple of years back. But if you type in Robert Valley Wonder Woman, check it out on YouTube. But Robert typically animates in Photoshop, which I'm like, what? It looks awesome. Recently, he did two of the pieces that are in Love, Death, and Robots. Season 1, he did one called Zima Blue. And Season 2, it's called Ice. But definitely, he directed both of those. That's Robert Valley. We got to hang out and talk a lot. If F-bombs offend you, you might want to sit that one out because we got to talk about the freedom of doing whatever the F you want, and it's pretty awesome. So, but yeah, that is our day. Oh yeah, what's big about tomorrow? Tomorrow we are finally, we're getting the last little things out of the way. We're going to actually start giving some things away tomorrow. So this is why I was saying, if you haven't already, go ahead and sign up. We will be sending out emails. We send out an email first thing in the morning. There occasionally are little surprise guests. Sometimes I get to actually work with, we actually did our first, for this year, first one live. We got to actually hang out with DeMille this morning. Now that I know how the software works and how to get my headphones turned on. So we may actually have some live people coming on throughout the week. Me playing little co-hosts and fun things like that. But, last but not least, I will tell you this. We're already starting to plan next year. So I'm going to start reaching out to you all, and y'all can even leave it in the comments. What would you like us to talk about? What haven't we talked about? Who would you like to see? Who would you like us to invite? Yeah. And like I said, right now, this is just 2D animation. When the idea came about, I keep saying we. It's me, royal we. When this first came about, and even purchasing the domain name, we didn't just buy 2D Animation Summit. We just bought Animation Summit. We may eventually do a 3D one. Like I said, there are a couple of people that we ran out of time with, but they're definitely on our list of people to bug to get there. We're going to be trying to work and getting the previous years, make sure all of those are online, so you'll be able to see videos from the first year as well as the second year. But that's also something we'll be keeping up with our mailing list. So Thank you so much for the summit. I'm learning so much, and I'm overjoyed for the amazing guests as well. Ashley, thank you. That means a lot. It means more than you know, because I will tell you that pulling this off is not it's not necessarily, perhaps for a more organized person it's easier, but it is a lot of work, and luckily I'm blessed with knowing a lot of really awesome people, and like I have friends and those friends have friends. So putting this together, just everyone was like, cool, yeah, I'll talk about stuff. So yeah, this year's more talk than demo, but yeah, I think it's been a really cool wealth of knowledge. So. Alrighty. So I'm going to get ready to sign off. But like I said, if you all think of, hey, I would love it if you could actually interview so-and-so, or, hey, could you have this on here? Or why don't you ever talk about this software? So cool. All right. So this has been Tony Ross for the 2D Animation Virtual Summit. This is the end of day 2. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be starting off tomorrow morning at 10. Oh, dude, don't you make me cry on camera. Working from home so long, this is one of our highlights of my year. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks. That means a lot. Alrighty. So we're going to get ready to sign off, and I will see everyone or talk to everyone in the morning. Peace. See you, Tim. See you, Barry.